Morning, kids. Morning, Fernando. Welcome to the 10 Acre Woods. I figured I would hold off on the spring farm tour until it actually looked like spring out. So spring's been here a month, but the snow is gone and the water's running. You can hear in the background, and it's time for the spring tour. So we're going to start off our tour with the front pen. This is where all of our specials and all of our mamas and babies are. This here is Blackie, and this close one here on the left is Bonnie. And the far one with the little white heart on the head, depending on how you look at them, is Clyde. So this is Bonnie and Clyde, and they are currently spoken for. So 4 of the 6 are spoken for currently, and they'll be going home in August. We have, usually we're open, but because of the pandemic, we're not open at the moment. But when we do, they get socialized pretty well with visitors that come and visit. What is going on here, Guinea? Is there a danger? Yeah, run away, run away. So those guys eat wood ticks, but they can be a little loud at times. So moving on to Coco's little kids. So we have this one here that kind of looks like Sheldon. It's a girl, and her name is Shelby. Hi, Shelby. They're just learning to jump and play, and it's cute to see. And then we have Baxter, which is this little brown one here without the white patch on the head. This is Baxter. Hi, bud. Oh, you gonna headbutt me? You gonna headbutt me? You can see there are little horns, so we do not dehorn them. We find that if they're raised happy and friendly, they're not a danger to anybody, so there's no concerns there. Moving on to Petunia's little 2. So these 2 have not been spoken for currently, but there are some people that are interested. This one here is the little boy, kind of caught down in the tree. And then the little girl is right over there. Hey, bud. You gonna go jump on Mom? Oh. Quite often you'll see them jumping up on the back of the goats, of the mama goats. And usually Blackie is the one that gets all the kids. It used to be Snow. Snow was the one, which is Petunia's mom, which she passed away last year. But Blackie's our older mama. And she looks after, I guess you could look at it as the nanny. Although there are times when other kids try to come over around her and she thinks they're gonna milk her and she kind of pushes them away. But if she's lying down, she doesn't mind it at all. So moving on to the 1-year-olds. So speaking of feeding, here you go. Little tails wagging. They headbutt the udder to get some milk out. And when they get older, they can actually lift up the back end of Mom. And then once they're done, Blackie will walk away. And we call this kind of milk drunk. They kind of stop for a second, digest, and then head off to play. Here we have our 1-year-olds. So this is Holly on the right and Billie Jean on the left. Hi, Billie Jean. Hi. Then we have the sheep. So this is Moira. Moira's been, you can see her wool on the side is kind of rubbed off. If you were watching any of the live streams, she likes the brush that's in there. So we'll be shearing our sheep in June, likely beginning to mid-June, just because the nights can be a little bit cooler. Now we do have another sheep. Oh, but before we do that, let's take a look at Sheldon. Sheldon, hey. Sheldon, buddy. So Sheldon is 2 years old. and he was, well, given a 0% chance of survival when he was born. He wasn't feeding. We had to take him in, and he had what Tara calls kind of a disconnect. We look at it as autism. Now, can goats be autistic? Well, I don't see why not. But usually they would die because the parents can't take care of them, so we had to intervene. Hey, bud? Yes, and he just can't stand still. Oh, what are you doing? Snorting, are you? Hey, bud, a little bit of ADHD as well. He usually can't stand still. So the other sheep, we have two other ones. I believe they're in here. Here we go. We have George. George, what are you doing, bud? And we have Flora. So Flora came in last week. Now she is sheared. And she does have her tail. So our sheep don't have tails. They usually get cropped off by the farmer. And then when they come in, like George here, they already have their tails cropped. So you have to watch when the tail is intact, because what can happen is they can get, not at this stage, but when they get to have the wool, it can compact, their stool can compact in the back end. So you really have to be aware of that to make sure that they are healthy. And her mate passed away about a week ago. So she was brought here because, well, she didn't have a companion. And we would just make sure that she is happy and healthy here. We put her in the barn at night to make sure that she wasn't getting a chill. There were some nights that it was pretty cool. For the first 48 hours after shearing, their wool starts to thicken up. It's the time when most of the growth occurs on their wool. So you want to make sure that it's not too cold when they're sheared, and that's why we just make sure that these guys are warm and the temperature is warm outside before we shear them, just so we don't run into any issues. And then we have Hazel. Hazel. Hi, Hazel. Hazel came in last year, June. She was born of last year. Hi, and she has her little horns here. So she lived in a house. The parents were separated. And so the daughter, this was their daughter's little goat. But since she was going back and forth to one parent who lived in the city and one who lived in the country, city life is no place for a goat, is it, Hazel? No, it's not. Hey, Fernando. How you doing, bud? We had somebody come here to, actually a couple people, to collect some of the alpaca poop for the garden. Because it works, first year, you don't have to let it sit like you do cow and horse manure. And he had puffed right up. You're not really that puffy right now, are you, bud? Hey? You got a puff? There you go. Good job. There's alpaca will poop in certain piles, which is kind of nice. They'll go to their poop pile and they will poop all in one pile, right? The coyote. Now we have our ducks on the pond. We have the geese hanging out here. So we did lose a few. To my count, 2 ducks we lost, and we did lose one of the geese. So one of the Chinese geese is missing, and we found feathers in the back. So the Chinese geese are the ones with the little bump on their beak, and then the other ones are Czech. So with the coyote, he's been getting in at the back there. We found the area. Now, he hasn't been back in a little bit, so we're unsure about if he is coming back. We thought maybe he got zapped by the electric fence that's back there. So we're not sure. So we're keeping an eye. I've put one of my wireless cameras out back in that area to take a look and to monitor it. If there's any motion that occurs back there, I'll get a notification on my phone saying that there is movement. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully he has moved on. But the plans are this year to combat that. You know, we haven't had a problem in almost 20 years of having the farm here and having the fencing, but of course this is kind of a wake-up call. It's time to act. So we have in the back there, at the end of this fence, there's the alpaca. They are out now. At the end of this fence here, there is a pole just over here, and what we want to do is extend this across the back here, and then on the exterior portion, we want to bring that all over and tie it into the building, so that this pond area is completely enclosed with a proper fence. And then on the outside property there, we're thinking about coming up higher than these fences, and it'll essentially be this type of fencing here. So we use stucco wire, which is 4 feet wide or 4 feet tall, and then we've got these boards as reinforcement. So that's what we're currently looking at doing, closing in this area and then worrying about the back section down the road just because of the expenses. So it looks like the alpacas are going back there. Now with the alpaca, Shanzi, Marley, and Paula. Paula, of course, got out the fencing here last year and then this spring, and we realized that the line was dead. There was a break in the line probably since last fall. Tara took Paula over to the fence this past week, and she touched the fence. There was a snap, and Paula didn't even phase her. So she's been out now, out of the pen, because of course we had her locked up in the building. She's been out now for about 4 or 5 days, and she hasn't gone out. So maybe she just doesn't react. Maybe she felt it and she doesn't want to go because it was a bad shock. But really we were surprised that there was no reaction. So the pond here is now flowing. So we had that, oh, what is it? What is it? Are you protecting your girls? Yes. Here's one of the Chinese geese here, and here's the other one. So once things started to melt, Tara went and she put the pump in the pond down here, get that pumping up, get some circulation happening, so it comes up into this area here. The animals use this as a water source, and then of course runs down, aerates over the waterfall. We have this windmill here. It is pretty windy today, and you can see there is an air stone out there that bubbles up, and that's how the pond gets aerated. Looks like one of the hens, they're trading it off. It's a worm. One of the hens got a worm, oh, in the building, and it probably changed beaks about 5 or 6 times, stealing it from the other. So they were, you know, this is the time when all the little critters are out and they're looking for them. But that was pretty funny. Hi, buddy. So this is one of the Hi Guys. We lost guys, and they got their names because the lady that had them just went out and said, "Hi guys, hi guys." So this one we're calling Hi. He's a Muscovy, and he is quite rough looking. He's very friendly. But you know, he can be just like geese when they come up and start honking at you. They can appear pretty scary. People think when Muscovies come up and they start doing their thing and checking you out, that they're attacking you, but they actually just want some attention. And this little boy here wants lots of attention. Getting to the watering, so I mentioned about the pond being a water source. We do have these waters here, so it's hooked up to the water line. This is our summer automatic watering system. So we've got one there, we've got one there in the chickens, and then we've got one over on the other side in the other chicken pen all along this building. Now we've got ducks in there as well. That side is all open to out in the yard. This here isn't. We've got these ones in here, these Columbian rocks, and then we've got some Isa Browns. These are ones that came in from other people for different reasons. One of them was a barn fire, and of course they had to do some rebuilding. And I believe the other one might have been as well. So we've kind of put them and separated them in this area because we're just taking care of these ones. We may end up keeping them depending on, you know, if they want them back. And if that is the case, then we'll put them over into that other area where they can go in and roost at night, but go out into the yard. I'm being tugged on again. What are you doing, buddy? You just want some attention. You're just like Fernando. Go hang out with Fernando. Sheep. So Bronwyn the sheep, she had her horns trimmed a couple videos back. And then we have Turbo. Hey, Turbo. How you doing, buddy? So people have said in the past about the wool on them, they must be really hot. You know, you should shear them. In southern countries, southern states, yes, that's the case because it is quite a bit warmer there. Here in Canada, it's just basically getting above zero at night. Now, even in the summertime, this does insulate the cool in as well. So the hot sun coming down on this isn't actually going to get down. So when you do shear them, you have to pay attention to, again, that 48 hours or probably even good for a week to make sure that they're not in the sun too much because their pink skin is exposed. So they can actually get dry skin and even sunburn. And this is Tinker. Hi, Tink. Tinkerbell. How you doing? You guys hanging out in here because it's just nice and relaxing. I see the ponies are out with the alpacas, so we'll have to go back there and check them out. We'll just do a walk through the building here first. Oh, it's locked, so that's why this window's open, so we can reach in because the sheep can actually open the door. So there's not a whole lot going in here right now. This is our watering system. Once I turn on the light here. So the watering system comes out of the ground from when we used to have our mobile home at this location. It comes out of the ground. We have a main shut-off valve here, and then we have a splitter. So we just hooked up this splitter. This line goes down and around and goes out that end of the building, runs across, and then runs back from those watering systems that we saw. We also have one over in the rabbit hutch, which we want to move into the rabbit area instead of the duck area, so we'll get to that in a minute. This here is actually a heat trace line that goes into the pipe for winter operation. So there's a special coupling that goes on here, and this wire actually goes down through the pipe probably about 30 feet till it gets deep enough into the ground. And then this little timer here turns it on and off just to kind of modulate the heating and cooling cycle so it's not on all the time. And here are our inside roosters, our guard roosters. So we have Atlas on the right, he's a little Sarama, and we have Henry on the left. So he's just, it looks like he's just maintaining the ground, he's cleaning things up, doing his part. So this is the inside pen of that outside run that we saw. So with the little door over there, it looks like the peafowl must be outside. So we've still got the 2 peahens. And then we've got a few pigeons in here. Most of the pigeons are outside now. Then we have the chicken area. So these two will get cleaned out shortly now that it's warmer. But there's no big rush on it because the door's open, they can get outside and bask in the sun, right, buddy? So in the back area, this was already cleaned out. This is where the specials and the young ones go during the winter months. We bring our little ones inside during the winter, their first winter, just because, you know, we're a little overprotective and we want to make sure that nothing happens. This is just kind of an extra pen for now. We had the guinea fowl in there in the wintertime with their little Keats, little babies. And speaking of babies, this is where, you can see the heat lamps here, this is where the mama goats gave birth about almost a month ago, 3 weeks I think it is. 2-3 weeks ago they gave birth. You can see that video in our previous videos. Hey boys, all right, time to go outside, check things out. And see some of the other animals. This is just where we store our grain and feeds. We do make our own grain for our chickens, and it's just a blend of barley, wheat. We use some oats, and we just mix it up. We actually did a video a few years ago where we took samples of all these grains. So here, this is just a great utilization of space. These are barrels underneath here. So those are our barrels. And here is some wheat. So what we do is we took samples of these, or basically made mixtures of them, ground them up, sent them to the lab, and we cross-referenced that with what is sold in stores for nutrients and proteins. And we were bang on with the exception of some proteins, so we added fish meal to that, or you can use seaweed as well to add to their meal. Some of the other ones, like these peas and lentils, you have to soak because they can't digest it. And actually, there's the peafowl, the hens right there. You have to soak it in water. So what we do is we soak it for 24 hours. And here is that mixture here. You can see that. So that just softens it up enough so that they can actually digest it. So what happens is we feed one of those in the morning, drain it out, feed it in the dishes, and then we rotate them. So I think we've got 2 here. Tara usually does the feedings because, of course, I head off to work during the days full time, even now with this crisis because I am essential. But I think what she does is she soaks them for 48 hours and rotating them through. So that's what you do with peas and lentils. So we try to do everything as natural as possible here, from natural grains to natural bug control or pest control. So what we do is we treat our animals with, here's one, it's short DE or diatomaceous earth. And it's essentially just a powder. Now, it's made up of what's called diatoms, which are basically small little crustaceans, I guess you could call it, and micro, so it just looks like a powder in there. And what happens is here's a blown up picture of it, of some of them. They're all kind of different shapes. And what it does is it dries out, it scratches and dries out the little bugs and kills them. So you can also use ashes from your fireplace as well and put those as a natural source. And here's Tara trying to be nice and quiet as we're heading out. I forgot about Hannibal! Now, Hannibal and Turbo, I think, are the 2 because they know the food's in there. we have to lock the door, yeah. So reach in, lock the... It's locked, buddy. Yep. You can't reach in there and unlock it.
Hi, Annie.
Yeah, Hungry Hanny, we call him, because he's always hungry. Poor boy.
I don't know if he got it this morning.
He gets extras all the time.
I'll check.
Oh, you gonna give him a little something? Look at me, he's like a dog. He's a, oh yeah, okay, here we go.
Take.
Yeah.
Take.
Just like dogs, right? Give one a treat, they all want a treat.
All right, go. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see. Move along.
Nothing to see. You're on a hay diet.
Yep. Actually, Turbo's quite large. But, well, there's a lot of wool there. So once we shear them, which we will do a video on shearing, and we have done videos in the past.
Look, he's going to try.
Yeah, he's going to go in.
Did you explain the difference in their wool? Why it's different?
Oh, between Bronwyn.
Oh, no, between Turbo and Pink. This thing
Oh.
goes through the door.
Yeah.
Turbo jumps over.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Well, no,
You
Turbo
know,
does go
well,
through as well.
Well,
But usually see, he's
he's trying to make it bigger.
he's just making it. He says, I'm going to come in.
He jumps over.
Yeah, Turbo usually jumps over because this is a little bit higher here. See, he's going to do it right there. So he goes over, so his wool is nice, poofy, and beautiful. And Tinker is missing chunks on the sides because she doesn't jump over. She actually squeezes through that door there. So both of her sides are missing wool. We're not going to get good yield out of your wool this year, are we? Look at you. You have a nice slender, a slender body. The hourglass figure of a sheep. The pigs, Petey and Piper, rooting around, rooting for grubs. Getting anything good, guys? Getting anything good? You must be. Wow. Little grubs, little bugs, all kinds of stuff in there. So it's important to have them on a good diet. You don't want to just feed them scraps all the time. You want to make sure they have a good diet and that they have a place to get out here and do this. Because this is their exercise. So they often go back to the back and they root through the pile back there. Go out on their walks, and you can see them in the morning. Go out, and in the evening or mid-afternoon, walk back, and they usually go a few times. Did you try to pet him?
No, I think he was looking for eggs.
Oh, yes. So we've got these things in here for the ducks to go and lay their eggs in.
But Petey
so
likes to flip it.
We noticed 2 days ago, was it?
Yeah.
That this was flipped up. So we may have to put something in the ground here and screw it to it so it won't get flipped up. Kathy, what are you doing in the water? Muscovies don't usually go in water. And that's not your water. Now we're going to have to clean it out. Actually, we want to get an automatic watering feeder up here for these boys so we don't have to do this. Right, Carl? Oh, there's a duck in your water, isn't there? So Kathy, we called her Chatty Kathy because she's always out there chatting, and she's probably one of the oldest Muscovies that we have out here. And then Billy and Carl hanging out. How you boys doing? Oh, here she comes here. There she is. She's all bathed. You know, what we do is we put them out in the main area. And then they tend to walk. Another reason why we want to do up the fencing is because they walk around the house and they come out over down the driveway and through here to hang out. So now Kathy's back over at the water. You know, she didn't get enough, did she? Oh, there we go. So now she's going to clean up. I guess that's the trick to long life, is to make sure your feathers are all nice and clean. Bathe lots. Yes, so ducks. So this one here, this isn't a Muscovy duck. Muscovy duck eggs are waxy. So this one is a duck egg, but it's a non-waxy type, so it is likely one of the other ducks that we have. So we find them around quite a bit. Do you want to just leave this here? Is that what we're going to do?
Oh, I don't need more ducklings. I'll leave one there, and then as she lays there, pull them. Like I'll mark one. So she keeps laying in the same spot.
Yeah.
Or else, because if I take that in too many times and empty the nest, she's going to be like, this isn't safe.
Well,
I'm going to go hide them somewhere else.
Yeah, we could also take the egg, and I think we've got some fake eggs too, right?
Yeah.
We've got those
right.
fake eggs that we have, those brown ones.
I do.
We could put those there to trick her, and then she'll just keep laying eggs in the same spot.
One right now.
There we go. Tara has an egg, and these eggs you picked up because you wanted to do a redneck golf.
Redneck mini golf.
So, you know, you can see from the side, you can see the seam on there, but they actually are, they look a lot like chicken eggs. Same size, makeup. So we're going to put that one down and see what happens. I don't know. Are ducks colorblind?
There's so many different colors though.
Yeah.
Like there's a Cayuga laying in here and the Ancona are laying in here.
Well, we'll see what happens. Okay, Billy. Here, I'll take that. And we will move this over and put it in there. Little spot here. Spread it out. Minimize any kind of fighting. Oh no, Carl. You don't have any fainting goat in you.
He does have a little.
Yeah, obviously he does. I've never seen him do that. So Billy has now became alpha. And you can see he went over and scared Carl, who fell over, which I've never seen before.
When he was little.
Well, and I know, yeah, actually that's true. When he was smaller, he did have a little bit, but we haven't seen that in years. So Billy's now alpha. And what happens is their adrenaline jumps up and spikes when they're scared, and it just locks up their muscles. So they're not really fainting. They just can't stand because their muscles go all stiff in their legs because of the adrenaline spike.
They're both stomping the ground at each other.
Yeah. Oh, Billy's going to go around. Yeah, and they're going to change sides. So this is another reason why you want to make sure you have a good feeding station or multiple feeding stations because they will go round and round and round. So in the rabbits, we have two. So this is a little female and it is a lop. So we have two rabbits left. This one, and you may have remembered Hugo, which I believe is in this. If I can open it. Yeah. And not scare him. There we go. And here's Hugo. Hi, buddy. So these are really neat units. They are composting bins with lids, so you can clean them out. They've got air vents in there. And then they've got this little spot down here on the bottom to shovel out the compost as it goes through and composts. So they make excellent rabbit shelters. So we have 3 of them in total. The first one that we had was this. It's the bottom of a captain's bed, I think it is. And these are the drawers that pull out. There's 2 of these units that are flipped. So there's drawers on both sides of the bed. And we had this old one, which this one we've had for...
We've got both.
Actually, yes. I just thought of that. We do have both. So we've had these in here for
those are original.
Years. Like they are starting to break down. The rabbits will chew the wood as they do. So you want to make sure that you have things like a wood in here. So we'll throw some wood pieces in. I don't have to go to the back now because the alpacas are up here. Shanzi, Marley, and Paula. And then of course we've got Daisy. Okay, we're missing 2 ponies. And that is Levi and Meadow, so they must be out back.
Come on, Levi!
Okay, I think something's happening. This is what happens when Tara yells. When we do goat yoga, they'll all be usually in the back. Hey, Hanny. They'll usually all be in the back, and Tara will yell out, "Come on, kids and mamas and babies." And then we give them some treats. Watch the bush. Here we go.
Good boy! Hi, Meadow! Hi.
Look, you have a whole audience. Everybody's waiting for you to come back.
Hey, we have fun now.
Did we disturb you? Were you guys playing in the back? Oh, Atlas. What Atlas, you're supposed to be a herding dog. Although, you know, I sometimes think maybe we should have let Atlas grow up with the animals.
Yes.
So that he can be a protector. Because I think we spoiled him and he's been in the house. And so maybe the next time. Oh, there you go, Atlas. Come on. Oh, no. I don't want to go in. I just want to bark from the other side of the fence.
Come on.
Come on, Atlas. Come on. Nope. No, don't want any part of it.
And when we do let the animals in there, the dogs go right upstairs.
Yeah.
What?
There's no, I'm fine. I'll just bark from this side.
You're supposed to be a herd dog. Look, Shanzy.
No?
No.
You don't do dogs? No canine. That brings us to the end of yet another video. So I'd like to thank and welcome Daniel and Sylvia from Italy to our Patreon page. So they just recently became Patreons. And you can too to support this channel. You can click on that link and you can become a patron. So if you have any questions about this video or really any other video, or you just want to say hi, you can also comment. We're going to be doing a question and answer video coming up in the future, so you can comment below if you want to ask us a question to be in that video. Just maybe put a little asterisk in the video and we won't answer that in the comment section. We'll save that and answer it during that video. So have a wonderful week, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Take care, bye-bye.